Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave and another different type of video today, as I'd like to do a little bit more of a skill video. During the streams, I always talk about these weird ephemeral patterns, these strange things called the RSI, something that a lot of people have heard of, but I think there's a lot of misnomers, so I wanted to do a quick little video and talk about a few of the things that I think are the most important to be aware of with the RSI. Now, first things first, I want to be absolutely clear in this in talking about one of the major fallacies with it. The RSI, it's a beautiful tool, but god damn it, the overbought and oversold is not the best way to use it. In fact, I'd say that's the most naive way to use it and a severe underutilization of it. As your RSI can really be overbought for quite some time. It can be quite oversold for for just as long as well. Although typically speaking, you will see things stay oversold a little bit less longer than they can stay overbought for, especially on the higher time frames. So first things first, I want to give you an example of that. I don't want to just throw that in your face without no reasons. I'll let you decide for yourself. And over here, so I'm on the daily for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, as you know, or probably heard last year, if you weren't living under a damn rock, well, you probably saw Bitcoin rally from about $8,000 to $20,000 in the span of a couple weeks. And funnily enough, you'll notice that your RSI over here was oversold right around here, right around that 83, 86 and a half high over here on BitMEX. Now, if you're using this in the traditional way that's I think a lot of people believe you're supposed to use the RSI with, you'd say, hey, this thing's overbought. I better sell this. Well, you would have missed out on this beautiful run over here. You would have missed out on all of this beautiful $12,000 rally in the span of 2 weeks. Quite crazy indeed. Now, of course, not every example is going to be this exaggerated. However, I will say that this is a beautiful example right here for the context of this video right now, and is going to lead into and be a perfect segue to the next point. The best way to be using RSI is as a momentum gauge. It's quite literally, the relative strength indicators. So what do you want to use it for? Identifying divergences. And how does that populate itself? Well, by definition, what are divergences? Divergences are when you are making a higher high or lower low in price action, and your RSI oscillator is not making a higher high along with a higher high in price action, or it's not making a lower low corresponding with a lower low in price action. So another way of putting this is when you're making a higher high in price action, such as right here, maybe you're making a higher high from this point at $17,341 to over here at about $20,000. Well, you're making a higher high in price action, but look at this, your RSI is not. It's actually making a severely lower high right here. So again, this is a big point with the RSI, because the RSI is telling you about momentum. And the idea here, and the idea that I want to relate to you, is that when you're looking at your RSI, you want to be gauging, is this move losing strength or gaining strength? Essentially, is it going to be easier to be sold into or bought into? So in this scenario, when price action is moving higher, the oscillator is telling you that, hey, this move is not as strong, so that means it's more likely to and more easily sold into. And vice versa for when you're looking at bullish divergence that's called bearish divergence, by the way. And if you're looking for bullish divergence, let's go over here to a good example where, look at this, we are making a lower low in price action between this point at 6,500, we'll call it, and this point at 6,450, we'll call it. And you can see that we're making a higher high on our oscillator down here, telling us that, guess what, this move is losing strength. It's a lot more easier to be bought into. And I'd like to come into the third point and last point of this video. You can make patterns on your RSI. Yes, your RSI is like a beautiful little line chart, funnily enough. And you can plot, and so what I mean by this, you can plot resistances from this and also supports. And you know that when it breaks out or breaks down from an RSI like line chart perspective, that will actually help correspond with price action and could even be a secondary confirmation of price action, as you'll likely see them reflect each other. So let's go look for an example over here. Well, first things first, I look at this one right here, and I see the good old fuck you pattern, or perhaps called the head and shoulders. And you can see right here, guess what? We do have a nice horizontal line if you were to plot a neckline right around here. And you can see, actually, that this is a beautiful head and shoulders, or whatever you want to call this, and with a neckline right around here. And the second that you actually crack this neckline, you're off to the races down to the downside. Now, I can't promise you that every time it's going to be this exaggerated, but what I can say is, hey, go over to your price action over here, and you're actually not seeing a head and shoulders being put in on your price action over here. However, look at this. When you crack this area right here, you actually get notified by your RSI right here, funnily enough. And after that, it's just off to the races. So again, you actually don't see a head and shoulders being put on your price action, but you do see it on your RSI, and it plays out damn perfectly. By the same token, let's find another one, because there's not just head and shoulders on this, but there's also plenty of other ones now, aren't they? Let's scroll back now over here, and you know what? Here we go. Here we go. So I'm going to go back now over here as well, and very easily you can see that, hey, we have, do I want to use this example, or do I want to use that example? There's too many good ones. All right, so let's go with this one then. It's the opposite example, so it's a little bit easier. All right, so we got this guy right here. We have a support right here, you can see, and guess what? The former resistance becomes support, as the saying typically goes. And then we have this guy coming down over here. So we actually have a falling wedge. Now, if you're familiar with me, you already know that I do not give a damn about calling these things falling this, falling that, or because I don't think that you should imply a movement along with it. You can break any which way. And the key point here is that you have a nice support to be broken off of. And you can see that it's very well respected as you move along over here. And you know what? I'm going to do one little bonus tip as well. You want to know a little secret? The RSI can actually tell you, are we in bullish territory, neutral territory, or bearish territory? And this is going to lead on to a second point of this guy, taking these guys off. Now, your traditional bullish territory, and this is a great example over here, is around your 60-ish area on the RSI to the 65 region. You know, again, there's a little bit of debate onto where it truly is. However, you know, the thing with this is that once you start getting into that zone, you're starting to see, hey, bulls are taking over, bulls are in control. And actually, you know what? I think we have a better example over here, perhaps on Stamp. Yes, we do. Okay, so you can see all throughout the humongous rally of, you know, 2015 to 2018, you basically had a kind of like support being put on your weekly RSI right here around the neutral zone, and most of the action happened actually above the 60 territory right around here. So funnily enough, so what that's telling you is that, hey, there was never any reason during that period of time to be bearish on price action. And let's go see if that was reflected throughout that time over here. And well, look at this. See, you can kind of plot your neutral zone right here. You know that you're just oscillating between your like super bullish zone and then your neutral zone over here. Well, you can be comfortably bullish, essentially. You can be BTFD, bro, is how you can perhaps say it. Now, big point about this. We have a change behavior over here. This is one of the reasons why I'm a little bit leaning to the bearish side in the current moment in time. However, that can always change. But this is why over here we have a change of behavior. We start working below the 50 zone, the neutral zone on the RSI for the first time ever since 2014. Now, the bearish zone is a little bit more agreed upon, I'd say, at the 45 mark. Yes, you know, technically you could say 40 as well, but I would say 45 and below is certainly in bearish grasp, as they get a little bit more leeway with that one. And you can see over here that, guess what? We have been operating between the neutral zone and the 45 zone, or sorry, below the 45 zone for the first time ever since, again, 2014, telling me that, hey, we are in the grips of bearish territory. So that's going to do it for this nice little tip video. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. I hope that this helps. I wanted to demystify some of the secrets of the good old RSI. Treat it well, and it'll treat you well. And by the way, if you are interested in more information like this, of course, I want to remind you that I do have a technical analysis program. It has all my technical analysis indicators, all of my trading strategies, all the market dynamics that I interpret, and also risk and position management tools in there, as well as what has come out to be like another 10 bonus modules at this point in time. So it is about 30 hours in its entirety. So again, if you want to learn more about this sort of thing, if you like this sort of content and you want to go one deeper, as Dylan Francis sometimes says, well, then that would be for you. The link's in the description over there. I hope that this video finds you well, and I'll speak with you guys soon. Take care.